Hello, YouTube. Welcome to our first of a series of YouTube chats with the team behind Ruins of Symbaroum, which is currently on Kickstarter. And I'm going to, before we begin, there's a couple things that I would love you to do. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and that little bell notification that'll let you know every single time we upload new content and do more of these live chats. And also, if you are a fan of Symbaroum and you're backing this project, please hit that like button down below. The other thing that I'll let you know is that if you're interested in anything that we talk about today, anything at all, check out the links in the description of this video. The Kickstarter link is down there. And then also there's a link to Drive-Thru RPG where you can get the Ruins of Symbaroum, the Promised Land. That's like a primer for this project. You can kind of give it a shot, play it out, see if you like it. You should like it. It's really, really awesome. There's a lot of pages to that PDF that's already free, and it'll give you a good taste of what this Kickstarter is all about. Joining me this session is my co-host, the one and only Anna Westerling. Anna, thank you so much for joining me. We've got the Symbaroum team on with us today.
Yay! Yes, it's going to be super exciting to learn everything about it.
It will be. It will be. Let's. You want to keep an eye on the chat, and I will try to I'll bring in the guys, and we'll introduce them. And if anybody has any questions, let us know in the chat. We'll try to answer as many as we can. Like I said, this is going to be a series of chats. So if we don't get to your question, just leave it down below, and we'll answer it on session number 2 or even session number 3. Without further ado, let's bring in the gentleman behind this project. Mattias. We got dual Mattiases today. Gentlemen, thank you so much. And we've got Jacob for the first time. Gentlemen, thank you so much for giving part of your day to come on and be a part of this chat. Congratulations on the Kickstarter success. We're rapidly approaching 2 million krona, which is really, really great for just a little bit over the first 2 days.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, and we are looking forward to keep the momentum going throughout these. I think it's precisely 3 weeks left of the campaign today, so there's still some stuff to do, still cool stretch goals to unlock and whatnot.
Absolutely. Do you want to introduce yourselves? Let folks know how you're involved in this project. What roles are for Ruins of Symbaroum. I'll let Mattias, MJH. I'll let you go first, since most people probably already know your role with this situation. So,
yeah, I mainly work as the game director of the original Symbaroum game, or we can say I'm the game director of the Symbaroum brand, meaning that I'm also spearheading this project. As a project lead and also as an editor, and I try to this Kickstarter also takes a little bit of work, but in parallel with this, I'm also working on the next installment of the original game. So that's where I am. I write most of the big adventure chronicles for the original game that we will maybe one day, if we have had questions about it, maybe one day see adapted to the 5e version of Symbaroum, Ruins of Symbaroum. And I will mainly work as an editor on this project, while Mattias, Lilja, and Jacob you can tell them yourself what you will be doing.
Mattias, Lilja, let's
Sure.
What role do you play in this?
Well, I'm one of the designers of the original Symbaroum game, together with there's lots of Mattiases here. So, but Mr. Johnson, so I'm also an avid 5e fan, or any OSR Ostrich type game. So I've taken together with Jacob to see that the translation of the system from the original to 5e stays true to the setting, but also is a really good expansion of the 5e system. We want it to be to the point. Our ambition is to be. It needs to be good to the point people could play this even if it weren't Symbaroum. They could move it into their own campaigns or whatever. That's the goal. So it's ambitious. We put a lot of weight on Jacob's shoulders. So that's he's been doing most of the heavy lifting on the system side, to be honest.
Well, excellent. Yeah, Jacob, do you want to tell a little bit about what you've worked on some really massive properties to before this before this project as well. You want to tell folks a little bit about your role with the Ruins of Symbaroum and how that all came to be?
Yeah, so I was involved in several projects in the past, like you mentioned, the One Ring and Adventures in Middle Earth, which of course brought 5e and Tolkien together. And when I heard about the Ruins of Symbaroum project to take Symbaroum and evoke it through the lens of 5e, I was very interested and exciting, and been able to work with Lilja and both Mattiases to help out and construct everything, classes, races, everything to bring 5e and Symbaroum together.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter, and then we'll just go on to. I'm sure we'll have plenty of viewer questions to address for this session.
I can just say, because there's a basic question, like if you're not familiar with the system, if you're not familiar with Symbaroum but you're familiar with 5e, will the core books in the set be a good introduction to the world of Symbaroum, and also what 5e books are needed? I don't know if you see those, Doug, and can click them to the screen.
I sure can.
So those kind of basic questions we can sort out. What is needed? If you haven't played Symbaroum but you played 5e, can you still enjoy this, and what do you need?
Okay. So there's a couple of different resources for 5e. One is called the Basic Rules, and that's freely available. It has the basic information for how to get started with 5e. And that will allow you to get started with Ruins of Symbaroum. However, when it comes to producing content for the game, most of the content in our 3 core books are going to be specific to the setting. So there's times where something that is in the core rules fits in perfectly with Symbaroum, but rather than spend time repeating that, we're just going to tell you that it's available in the core rules. And that gives us, frees us up to have space to tell you about something new and cool in Symbaroum. So you're really going to want to have the core rules for 5e to make maximum use of it. However, if you're just getting started and you're just dipping your toe into the waters of 5e, getting started with the basic rules is absolutely possible.
Cool. Thank you very much. I hope that was good. Now back to you, guys.
No, that's all right. Yes. I was just going to show folks that the Kickstarter itself is funding quite a large product line at this point, and you keep unlocking more and more products as we go along. I was just going to share with folks the Kickstarter itself, and show folks that we're almost at that 2 million krona mark, and it looks like there is there's 3 main books that you're funding for this project: a player's guide, a DM's guide, and a bestiary. And then you've already unlocked a GM screen and maps and adventures. So there's quite a bit of value right there. How much of that was factored in before you actually launched this Kickstarter? Is this all kind of stuff that you anticipated unlocking when you started the Kickstarter?
Well, we hoped, of course. Right. Launching a Kickstarter, you never know where it will take you, of course. The picture you just saw is the reward package of a pledge level called the Warden of Davokar, which is like the absolutely most popular one. Yeah, this one. I believe there's an additional map too unlocked by this time compared to that. Yeah, there you have it, all of them. So that will give you like the 3 main books of the Ruins of Symbaroum product line. As you said, the Player's Guide, the Game Master's Guide, and the Bestiary. And adding to that will be stuff that, because what you saw is only the printed stretch goal items that we have unlocked. Besides those, we have unlocked, I think, is it 5 by now? 4 or 5 meaty PDF adventures. We have also unlocked a module, a virtual tabletop module for Foundry that covers the player's guide. And we will soon, I think, unlock the Game Master's Guide as a virtual tabletop module as well. So there are, aside from the printed stuff, there are also other things that we always, I mean, we have run quite a few Kickstarters by now, and have hopefully we have learned something along the way when it comes to, you know, offering stretch goals that are sensible production-wise, and still are very useful at the gaming table. That will help you. That will like actually add value to the experience of playing the game. So that's what we are aiming for, and so far people seem to be super happy, and I hope we can continue to keep all of the backers happy, because man, we are so happy to have them.
Absolutely. Let's get to a few of the questions that I know there's some questions that were popped up even before we went live. So thank you everyone that joined us even before we hit the broadcast button. It's greatly appreciated. Thomas asks, is Symbaroum focused on fighting or role-playing? My party prefers creative social solutions over fighting most of the time. I know.
It's a question for you, Mattias, right?
Yeah, I think that's probably...
might be. I'll take a stab and you can add. We try to make sure when we write that you can... There are several ways to whatever goal you're aiming for. So it could be... You could fight your way through, potentially. Maybe talk or sneak your way through, or some combination of those. But of course, depending on situation, so people who are familiar with the original Symbaroum know that you can play, if you don't put a lot of effort into combat, you can put it into other areas and leverage that instead. And that's something that we also, of course, we're going to bring to 5e, since the system also allows for it to quite a great extent. So it's not a pacifist game, so you're going to end up fighting, but you can choose to some extent how much. Since it's quite deadly as well, there are lots of reasons not to fight if you like your character. So that's sort of the balance you want. You should be looking at all the options and fight if you have to. It's sort of what we're aiming for.
Excellent.
Yeah, I can add to that in Symbaroum, at least in original Symbaroum, but I think Jacob and Mattias, you have to correct me if I'm wrong, but it is perfectly sensible to run away, to flee when playing Symbaroum, right? Yeah. It's not that game that when someone picks a fight with you, you will take it. It's a game where you will think not 2 times, but 3 and 4 and 5 before ever drawing your sword. And I mean, not all the time, but you will find yourself in those situations, and that is, to me, that is a core element of the Symbaroum experience.
Sure, and I think it makes a ton of sense for a world that tries to, we're not trying to simulate anything, but have that sense of real that is sort of a bit darker, which means that people won't pick a fight with you unless they think they will win. Mm-hmm. So, and they might be smart, so they're going to be more of them, or they're bigger, or whatever. So if somebody picks a fight with you, you should probably realize that they have at least made their calculation of the odds, or maybe and we even introduced monsters that are way out of the character's league to fight, just to force the team to realize that this is not a fighting encounter. we need to outsmart this giant
Or run.
white spider
Or
in
just
the
run.
depths of the woods. Yeah, run, or live to fight another day, or make a deal. See if we can talk to it. Whatever. That's part of not turning everything into a fight. Is making sure that the players understand that fighting will get them a grave somewhere in Davokar, right? So they need to not fight all the time. I think that goes into the setting that it needs to feel grim enough that you can lose your life if you think your sword is the solution to everything. So that's part of it.
One of the questions was, how does magic and corruption work in this version? That seems to be a popular question on social, on pretty much almost every on other YouTube videos that we've put, because people are really kind of curious how that's going to work with the 5e system.
Yep.
Jacob, you want to grab that one?
Yeah, absolutely. So just like in original Symbaroum, when you cast magic or do other things that are kind of manipulating the world per se, you gain corruption. For most of the time, with most mystics, that's temporary corruption, and you'll gain a certain amount. If you cast a low power spell, you gain a little bit of corruption. If you cast a higher level spell, you gain more corruption. And we have certain spells that you can favor, meaning that you have like a guaranteed amount of corruption that you're going to gain for that spell. Usually there's a little bit of a random component about exactly how much you get. Once everybody has a temporary or a corruption threshold, and once you start accruing enough corruption, both permanent and temporary added together, to go over that, then you have to start rolling. And if you trigger it, you can get a mark of corruption, or you might even gain permanent corruption for exceeding your threshold. So there's no spell slots in the system. You can cast a spell as many times as you want, but you're taking that gamble, especially once you get close to that threshold or over it, whether or not you're going to face some rather permanent consequences for casting the spell.
Excellent.
I mean, needless to say, since Symbaroum is such a key mechanic in the original game, this was one of the things that we were very, very, I wouldn't say, we were a little bit afraid that it wouldn't be able to translate very well, but kudos to Jacob, because it feels, I don't know, just from the description we heard now, I think that most players who play the original game would recognize the mechanic and how it works and how it is supposed to work. So I, as a lore manager or whatever of the Symbaroum brand, am super happy with how it works. And you can try it out now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, by using that PDF on Drive-Thru-RPG free download, the one you mentioned, Doug. So
yeah, the one in the description of this video. It's been available for a little while, and there's been nothing but really great things about it being, as people are downloading it and playing it. Kevin asks, are feats being used, and if so, how integral are they going to be?
Okay, I can take that, or Mattias, do you want to take it?
No, you go, sir.
Okay, alrighty, yeah. So we do offer feats. And we offer feats in a variety of categories, actually. We have some feats that are tied to origins. So if you are a troll or an elf or even a human, there are certain things that are available to you that are not available to other origins. We also have some feats that are tied to the class or your approach inside the class. So I saw there's another question talking about the schools of magic. So there are feats that you can take that will unlock those approaches to magic. We also have taken the boons and burdens system and translated that into feats that you take on. Basically, a boon is something that you can take, and it's going to give you a little bit of a boost to one of your ability scores and also unlock some special ability. A burden is going to give you a double bonus, a +2 to an ability score, and is going to give you something that you can use to invoke for role-playing purposes, to gain inspiration, or just generally, have that special moment. So, like I said, a lot of different options for feats.
Excellent. Kevin also asks, also inspiration seems very tacked on in vanilla 5e. How is it being handled in Ruins of Symbaroum?
Yeah, that's something that we did not dive deeply into, but we do have certain hooks. For example, the burdens that would allow you. That gives you another thing, just like your ideals and flaws and bonds. That's another thing for you to hang on to and earn inspiration from.
Let's see here. Fenhorn says, "Wow, Lilja has come out of his dungeon. That's rare. People
We're still in the dungeon, man. They just turned the lights on."
People are excited that you're making your YouTube debut here. We appreciate it.
Yeah, really happy to be here.
Klaus says, "What levels will the different adventure modules start at? I'm thinking in particular the Copper Crown and the Throne of Thorns."
I can go with that one.
Sure.
The Copper Crown will be low level. The Promised Land, the first primer, is basically level 1, so that would make the Copper Crown adventures, that's Mark of the Beast and the Tomb of Dying Dreams. They would be following directly on that. So 2, 3. We're not really sure. We haven't converted all of them, so we'll see what makes sense. But starting levels less than 5 would be Copper Crown, and then the Throne of Thorns campaign is not part of the Kickstarter, at least not yet. We'll see how it goes. But that will probably start roughly in the early levels and go all the way to 20. But the adventures unlocked now, I think Johnsson mentioned them. There's 5 of them. They would cover maybe the first 6, 7 levels or some such, and maybe we'll see how far the Kickstarter takes us.
Yeah, we actually talked about this earlier today because we have just unlocked them. We haven't started working on the actual conversion, so we talked about where to put them, how to space out the. I mean, there are. Symbaroum is not a level system, so it's not very specific when it comes to how experienced do you need to be to play this and that adventure. But we think we have a good idea about the progression, and as Lilja said, the 5th of these currently unlocked adventures should end at like 7 or 8.
We also had a question. Yeah, Doug, take it away.
Yeah, sorry. Proxy Account asks, is there some other material that is necessary to understanding the world and lore, or is this a self-contained package? Do you need any of the existing books in order to be able to play Ruins of Symbaroum?
No, you don't need any additional books. The 3 core books will for sure give you everything you need. Like Jacob said, you need to get everything from 5e. You need additional material, but you will be all set for Symbaroum with the core books.
Anna, did you see a question that?
Yeah, I saw people are playing role-playing games online, so they want Symbaroum on Foundry. And Foundry, and when will it be, what things, will the original game, will it be a 5e be there, and so on?
And we have actually already unlocked the first module for Foundry, namely the player's guide. And if people were asking about the original game, I don't think we should delve too deeply into that at this particular moment, but yes, we're working on Foundry modules for that one as well. So, and if this Kickstarter goes really well, we will soon unlock the Game Master's Guide module, and then it shouldn't come as a super big surprise to you guys that in the next batch of stretch goals that we will reveal maybe later today, maybe tomorrow, you will find a virtual tabletop module also for the bestiary.
Wow, excellent. Let's see here. Someone wants to know this. Oh, secret dungeon map behind Jacob. We'll bring that up so folks can take a look at it. And there you go.
Secret dungeon maps and secret homework on the far right. So,
But you mentioned that you're working with this now, like, so you're in the middle of the process. So this is really like you're out here asking if people want to support this, and then you will go back and write and do. So what happens the next thing in the Symbaroum process? Will you like have meetings and write, or where are you? I'm saying here everything will be delivered in February, so you have quite a lot of time. Does it feel good, or are you stressed?
It's feeling pretty good. Right now, I think I can reveal safely that we have a draft version of the player's book and a initial draft of the Game Masters put together. So right now I am deep in the bestiary making monsters. It's my primary thing that I do every day. Of course, we're going to continue to revise all three of them and hopefully get an alpha out, at least for the player's book, sometime this year, I think. So I'll let Mattias reveal it if he wants to put a date on it.
Yeah, that was not very brave of you, Jacob. An alpha before the turn of the year, of course. I think we can safely say that what we can promise is that we will have an alpha out sometime during the fourth quarter of this year, but I'll tell you a secret. I think we will see one before then. But keep it to yourselves.
Don't tell anyone.
I really hope so, because we are. But I mean, it's not just the three of us. We are a whole team, and we need layout resources, and we need additional art and graphic, elements and whatnot. And maybe not all of that will be in the alpha, of course, but at least the book needs to be layouted properly. So we have to. I mean, Free League is not. It's not the biggest company on the globe, and we have the resources we do have, meaning that it's hard to promise things because stuff happens all the time. We have a lot to do, basically, and not only the three of us. But no, I'm another thing here, of course, is. Depending on what happens with this Kickstarter, what it really does is that it gives us more work, meaning that the better the campaign goes, the more unsure we can be that we will hit that mark in February. But right now it feels really good. So let's keep it at that.
And at least it feels like the texts are getting ready, so we have that part, and monsters is right now happening. That must be kind of fun, going around all day and like writing monsters.
Yep, absolutely.
It's almost
every monster I make, I want to throw at my players.
Sorry?
I said every monster that I make, I want to throw at my players, at my playtesters.
Nice.
Oh,
do you have like a favorite type of monster? Sorry, I'm still on the monsters.
That's okay. No, go for it. Monsters.
Do you have like a favorite type, or like what's your ideal when you sit and design? I'm thinking if this is what you're working on right now, it's kind of fun.
Yeah, right now I am really loving abominations. Both Matthias and I had a conversation a little while back about how to handle things like the Blightborn and Abominations, and they are coming together very nicely, and they are very scary. So
sounds awesome. Okay, Doug, I'm going to let you take your question.
That's all right. That's all right. Omen asks, this is a kind of a question about the Kickstarter itself, because you can add some of the other freely products onto as add-ons for the Kickstarter pledges. If we add on any other systems as an add-on, will they be shipped as one big box shipment next year, or will they be shipped separately? Will they get early shipment if they add on pretty much some of the other products that...
I think I understand this question. The question being if they add on the Alien core book,
right, or Tales from the Loop, exactly.
Yeah, that is already in print. We will not be able to handle 2 ways of shipping in the Pledge Manager. So, this is a tough one, because on the one hand, we really, really want you guys to support the Kickstarter campaign and help us, knock off those stretch goals. On the other hand, those books are available at the moment in our web store. So, yeah. I don't know what you do with that information, but
sure. No, if folks are interested, they can just order it through the web store, and they'll get it actually probably a lot sooner than they would if they we did a two-wave shipping anyway. And either way, it helps fund what we want to do.
Absolutely. What you can be sure about is that if you buy books in our store, that's also a great way of supporting Free League, because obviously, buying a book from our store means that more of the revenue, or whatever you call it in English, I'm not very good at the accountant stuff, but ends up with us directly with our company. So it will go towards supporting the team and our efforts in all different areas of production.
Klaus asks, have the Ordo Magica schools been removed in Symbaroum 5e since there are no professions for them? I'm thinking there's one wizard who is furious about this.
Right. Yeah. Okay, that's a funny joke. As mentioned earlier, some of the feats allow you to unlock research into some of the various schools of magic. So it's basically a special threshold, and you get access to some special spells for taking the feat. So,
gotcha. Marco wants to know, how did you implement and translate the mortality of the original rulebook in the 5th edition conversion?
I think Mattias, you want to take this, or you want me to?
He's frozen.
Apparently he is. All right, by default, it's me. So one of the important things about it, of course, is that we are still using the 5e system, and the 5e system does have certain things like you have levels, you have hit points, and all that sort of stuff. But we have constructed the monsters to be hard-hitting. We have constructed corruption to be lingering, and we have built the rest system so that what happens is that a higher level character going into danger, going into Davokar or whatnot, has a few more resources than a lower level character, but either way they're going to eventually run out of those resources. Basically, the only way you get hit dice back is taking an extended rest, which you can only do in a safe place. And hit dice allow you to recover hit points, of course, just like in traditional 5e. They also allow you to recover corruption. So in order to maintain yourself and keep yourself going in dangerous situations, you're going to reach a threshold point where you just don't have any more resources, and you're going to be in extreme danger.
Beowulf asks, This is a good question. In terms of folks on the fence of whether or not they should back the Kickstarter, for those of us not in a position to back the Ruins of Symbaroum at this time, will the game be available for purchase at a later time? And what, if anything, will folks be missing out on if they don't back the Kickstarter?
Well, you will sadly miss out on quite a lot of the printed stretch goals, such as the maps and whatnot. They are, I wouldn't say that they're Kickstarter exclusive, but I don't see us, having them on for sale very long after the Kickstarter. It may be that we have some left just after it, but anyway, the 3 core books and such will of course be available later on from our web shop and from our partners around the globe, from retailers, your friendly neighborhood local gaming store can. Your friendly neighborhood Superman. No, Spider-Man was that. Anyway, I'm starting to get a bit tired here, as you might see. You will absolutely be able to buy these books later on from your store.
The one thing that folks won't be able to pick up though are these.
Oh yeah.
The collector's edition. No, that's fine. I just if you would like the collector's edition versions of Ruins of Symbaroum, you have to get them through the Kickstarter, and that'll be a very limited edition item. I'm going to imagine.
Yeah, it is only on the Kickstarter. Absolutely, and yeah, I'm super. It's not. We had the Nightbane edition for the original game, which is like super exclusive. It's only printed in 20 copies. This is not like that. There are no cap on how many can order this, but it is a one-time deal or offer rather. So if you are a collector and you're interested in these kinds of collectibles, now is your chance. Yeah.
Let's see.
Yes, and I'm guessing you'll be able to find us on events as well with the books, but use your local friendly neighborhood store to support them as well.
Always.
Let's hope. Yeah.
Absolutely. Support your local stores as much as you can. Jazriel asks, in the original Symbaroum game, there are unique rituals that mystics can learn. Are there any plans to adapt those rituals to 5e?
Yes. So what we did with the magic is if there is a spell in 5e that works the same way and represents the same effects as the Symbaroum spell, then we pretty much make use of the 5e existing mechanics. But for a lot of the rituals and a lot of the other spell powers, we created new spells for them and imported it in. And most mystics can take ritual spells, and like we talked about earlier with the temporary corruption, when you cast a ritual spell, you don't gain any temporary corruption. You do gain some permanent corruption for learning the ritual initially. So yes, casters will have some unique spells that they'll be able to do based on their approach.
Marco has a question that says, are you going to start with the conversion of the already published adventures and campaign, or will you produce new material specifically for the 5th edition Ruins of Symbaroum product line?
We're not going to produce, and it's not it's a separate product line based on the system, but it's not a separate line when it comes to content. So we will try to push 5e2 or Ruins of Symbaroum to become on par with the original game. I think that's the long-term ambition, at least. We'll see how far the community is with us on that. And if we ever reach that point, I foresee that we'll continue both lines in parallel. But there is no unique content for the 5e, and we are not planning to make any.
Good enough.
Okay, I can do a question while you look.
Yeah, go for it.
Like, I'm thinking the three of you are working a lot with Symbaroum. Like, what's the best, or why is it? What makes Symbaroum special? Why is this how does this separate? Why do you spend your time with this? It's like one of those big questions, but I feel like still we have the three of you here. You also and Mattias. I'm going to begin with you. I'm seeing you doing like, but like
this is a really tough one, I would say.
It's hard to you have that warm and fuzzy feeling inside. That is hard to put words on, I guess. But for me, it's always I think. For me, I think we captured that you're moving from this sort of semi-orderly world of the city into the chaotic forest where opportunity and danger waits. And I think we capture that both in the mechanics, the lore, and the arc in a really cool way that at least speaks to me.
I also like that we talk both about warm, fuzzy feeling. On the same time, we talk about corruption, mortality, death, monsters, and I
can do even better, Anna. Bearing in mind what you just said, my answer would be that I will not answer, because that's like asking me why I love my child. Even if that child is all about corruption and stuff. So no, but I mean, as a creator, it is really difficult to pinpoint just one thing.
Yeah, of course. I know. I'm putting you
so
out
maybe Jacob has a fresh perspective, and bear in mind that you're talking about my child now. So.
Absolutely.
No pressure.
But you're at least the one who joined the Symbaroum family the latest,
right.
I think. Here,
right.
So.
Yeah.
So how has it been getting to know Mattias' child here?
I think it's absolutely awesome. One thing that I really liked about Symbaroum and the entire setting is that it's very folkloric. And I won't get into any spoilers here, but the way that, like Lilja said, you move from the urban areas and their problems into the forest and its challenges, the way that things tie together with the backstory of the elves, the trolls, the goblins, the ogres, how everything is interconnected, and again, the story of the setting that it is evoked whenever you dive into any of the material about what happened long ago and what is happening now and what is coming forward. And again, I know that's very vague, but again, I know we have a lot of people listening who are brand new to the setting. I want them to discover something about it, brand new.
I think what you said, I think, ties into the sense of we built it in layers, so you can dig into the world and have this sense of exploration and the sense of wonder or horror. If you and I love building that and playing it and see my players react to it. We've had, of course, in our campaigns and also when we play the 5e version, people get really. They have a wow moment when they realize that something they thought were one way is actually quite the opposite, or at least not what they thought. And it happens to them as they play it, and it's relevant maybe also for their character because of their choice of origin. Or so we try to craft a world that's that on its own terms makes sense. It's not just a random set of encounters. It sort of tries to make sense, and it's weird. The building, the world is deadly and unforgiving, and that gives me a warm and fuzzy feeling inside. And I'll take that with my therapist because I don't know where it comes from.
But on that note, we also had someone here asking, why is Symbaroum chosen of the Free League catalog to go into 5e? If you go back to that, like, was it? And then his pushing it, is it like the team Järnringen who decided, or why did you kind of go for that?
Should I do that too, or start?
Yeah, please.
It's it goes back quite a long way. We started thinking about it when we saw that you could actually take the One Ring and turn that into adventures in Middle Earth, and do that in a proper way. We do love 5e. Played a lot ourselves. You could even see a lot of influences from at least the older editions on the Symbaroum rule set. That's not a coincidence, which also means that it's pretty, in some, Jacob might disagree with me, but I think it's fairly easy in most cases to do a proper adaptation, because the systems are related, even though they don't function exactly the same way. So there was the practical issue, the fact that people, you could do it, and we felt more confident that we could keep true to the setting while switching the system. And of course, no secret, we want to. 5e is the biggest community in the role-playing world, and if we can dip our toes into that and show people Symbaroum, I think we're going to get a lot of people, hopefully get their attention. We already know we have fans who they don't want to switch systems, but they love the setting. So I think that's sort of summarizes. So it's both a business side to it, but also we can do the setting justice, and many of the mechanics, like the corruption mechanic and the extended rest and all that, plays really well together in 5e.
Nice.
Yeah,
So then you're off.
Yeah, just adding to what you were saying, because you asked if this was a Järnringen idea. Not everyone knows the story, but today's Free League is a merger of two Swedish game studios. One was called Free League before the merger, and another was called Järnringen. And Symbaroum comes from Järnringen, and this discussion, me and Mattias also comes from Järnringen, and we had this discussion about the 5e version long before the merger, and we brought it up after the merger. And then when we started to, you go to conventions and talk to people online or whatnot in chats like this, and people say, man, I so want to play in this world of Symbaroum. I want to play Symbaroum, but my players don't want to switch from 5e. And so that sort of inspired us to put on a little bit of extra. Maybe that was tipped us over the edge, if you want, from having it being an idea to actually becoming a project, a real project that we started working on. And that was quite some time ago. Jacob, maybe you can tell us, because I don't really remember, but is it like a year since you joined this project, or half a year, or time flies?
Time does fly. Yeah, I think we started. Oh my goodness. We started working on the sampler quite a while ago, and then we've been working on the big project for a good chunk of last year and going into this year. So I think I think the project really got its footing, early 2020, and we did the sampler and whatnot, and then we pushed on to do everything else. So yeah, it's been going on for a year and a half now almost.
So to answer your first initial question, Anna, we haven't really talked about. I mean, we have had no serious discussions about making 5e adaptations of any of our other brands. This is a Symbaroum project, and it's been that way since before the merger. So, but I mean, if the follow-up question is, could you imagine doing this with, I don't know, some of our other brands? Maybe, but it's not something that we're discussing at the moment.
But so fans giving feedback pays off, since you said that you heard from people at conventions and so on. So if you feel something, say it, fans. So then you can give this consistency of the world that is very consistent, and the warm, fuzzy feeling of corruption and murder to more people. That's awesome.
Exactly. What's not to like?
That's right.
Okay, Doug, now you'll have to have a question.
That's right. Luke wants to know how well will this be able to be implemented with other 5e products? If I wanted to use one of the classes or races in my existing campaign, would it be easy to pull some of the material for existing 5e campaigns?
Yeah, I mean, we would definitely recommend that if you're pulling a mystic in, that you'd want to pull in the corruption mechanic as well, because again, of course, they work very closely together, and all of the Symbaroum classes are designed for the rest mechanic that we have. So that would be another thing that I might recommend looking at. And traditional 5e does have some challenges with the fact that a single night's rest, a long rest, resets everything for most classes. And our rest mechanic, a long rest does not do that. You have to take an extended rest to do it. So I think for a lot of people running 5e, taking a look at what we've done with the rest might be worth it. And again, with mystics and corruption, again, that's just a different way of managing your spell resources. So that'd be something you want to look at. You certainly want to import a mystic and just say, well, there's no corruption here, so you can just cast all day long. That might be a challenge.
Sure. Let's see. I think we're pretty well caught up. HD wants to know, how do you feel about elves being a main race to play when the game plays so heavily with themes focused on colonizer and colonized?
Well, I can start that.
Yeah, sure.
What I think he refers to is in the original Symbaroum game, the elves were not a playable origin in the core book. They came in the advanced player's guide. But that doesn't really change. The setting hasn't changed, the lore hasn't changed with 5e. We just make sure to try to push as much of the content to par with the original game. So elves are now playable. They still play the same role as they did before, meaning that they see themselves, say, as guardians of Davokar and nature, and see man as a problem that needs to be either ignoring don't work, so you have to contain or use harsher measures. But you can come from that origin and then have to deal with that insight so it hasn't changed anything in the setting. It's just that we're making this available to players from the get-go in the 5e version.
All true, but I kind of have to argue with you a little bit here.
That's fine. That's what we usually do.
Yeah, that's what we always do. No, but the thing is that you have to also remember that in Symbaroum, not all elves are alike. Not all ogres are alike, and not all trolls, and not all humans, and so on. So you can play an elf that is not your typical warden of Davokar.
Sure. Your family would disagree.
Yeah, strongly at that.
Yeah.
You would probably be, have run away for some reason or whatnot. So, but that's super important to know about the Symbaroum campaign, is that even if we have origins as a part of the mechanics, you will find contrasts and conflicts within each and every such group, and nuances and whatnot. So I think it's safe to say, and that's how we sort of introduce the elves also in the original Symbaroum game, because as Mattias was saying, elves are in Symbaroum sort of the default enemy, almost like the orc in your standard fantasy game or setting. so they are not easy to play, because you also have the aspect that most humans in the kingdom of Ambria, which is sort of the heartland of the setting, they don't like elves. They are scared shitless of elves. Oh, did I say a bad word now? Anyway, they are super scared of elves. They are convinced that if they meet an elf, that elf will probably skin you, hang you upside down from a tree, and leave you to be eaten by whatever beast finds you first. So in the original Symbaroum game, we have this, that most elves, they try to impersonate changelings when dealing with humans. So they are kind of forced to hide their origin. And the same goes with trolls. Obviously, they try to come off as ogres when interacting with humans that are, as narrow-minded as humans tend to be. So I don't know. Now I'm just starting to blab, so I shut up. But point being, I think it has translated really well into 5e as well.
And the whole point of putting up these origins is to, again, have them layered. So things are true on one level, but you dig deeper and you find that the truth is 70% true, and there's some other thing that is also true. So you can choose how you play, but the setting itself, it's almost like the people in the setting have strong ideas about stuff. But if you spend time in the setting, you will understand that they're often wrong.
Exactly.
Let's see here. There was a question about products that are new in this Kickstarter. It looks like some of the components in the Kickstarter might be new. For example, I'm not sure I saw the Thistlehold map elsewhere before. Are these going to be available separately? Also, I know that you've also put an add-on for a cloth map for in this Kickstarter. I think that's been asked on the Kickstarter itself as well. Are there going to be any options for folks that want some of these items that?
The cloth map is Kickstarter exclusive, but I'm quite sure that we will have to print some extra, just so we don't, because packages get lost in transit and whatnot. So there may be a chance to get a hold of one later on. And also down the line, maybe we will talk to our partners when it comes to merch, and we will be able to make something like that happen. The Thistlehold map that is seen on the Kickstarter right now, the stretch goal, it is actually available. It is on the flip side of the setting map that you can, I think it's in retail, and it's definitely on our website. So I don't know how much of these stretch goals will be available once the Kickstarter has ended, or if we will market them at all. The retailers are, for quite obvious reasons, a little bit hesitant when it comes to flappy plastic maps that are they are quite hard to manage in stores. So we are having a discussion about that. So unfortunately, I cannot give you a super straight answer to what will be available when it comes to the extra stuff later on. But I mean, we try to listen to what our players want and try to cater to their to that. If not, maybe we will see high resolution PDFs that you can purchase quite cheap over at Drive Through RPG or some such, and then print yourselves at a local printing house or something. So we will try. We try our best.
Speaking of retailers, we should also mention that there is a retailer option on this Kickstarter. So if folks have brick and mortar stores that and you're thinking of, and you have a large 5e community, this is a perfect way to make sure that you get some of those items that folks might be clamoring for after the Kickstarter. Let's see here. Marco asks, will there be an expansion of the other parts of the setting, like in the report 220108 in the Game Master's Guide?
Nope, not yet.
Okay.
No, we will start. I mean, if this thing takes off, and it looks like it is, we will see a lot of adaptations, a lot of the original products adapted to the 5e game, or game line. But the Throne of Thorns is for a later day, and that report, because our feeling is always that, if for those of you who don't know, the report that is referred to is sort of an in-game spy report, or analysis of several spy reports from different parts of the continent where the game setting is set. And we have written it like that just because if we start like objectively trying to describe the whole continent, we will probably end up with a very not very nuanced and very simplistic setting and that is not what we want for Symbaroum. We have designed the setting as very small and intimate, just to be able to go deep and provide nuances and provide conflicts within factions and conflicts within those conflicting factions as well, and so on. So no super broad strokes in this first release.
Jonathan has a question about Foundry. The Foundry product is: will corruption be automated as part of a Ruins of Symbaroum 5e character sheet system, or is it just compendium content with each stretch goal?
Sadly, I am so not the person to answer that question. And I don't think Mattias knows either at the moment.
Well, I think it's basically a question of what can we do with with Ruins of Symbaroum on Foundry, and we haven't started that, so it's presumptuous to say that we know exactly how it's going to work. The ambition for sure is to have all calculations made automated. So if you use something that creates corruption, it will show up on your character sheet, and you don't have to do it manually. Because what I think is that, and I think that's the question. But exactly how that's going to work and how much of that we can do, that depends. It's maybe the person asking knows, but for those who don't, there's nothing automatic about putting content on the virtual tabletop. It's super technical and hard work. And until you've done it, you don't know how it's going to function. You don't pour a PDF into it and it sort of works. So we can't promise how it's supposed to work, but of course the ambition is that it should function like a well-adapted module in Foundry, and everything that you need calculated will be calculated for you. That's absolutely the ambition.
Stefan asks, are you planning a lot of playtests to avoid unbalanced classes or origins? Is that something that you have in mind once?
Yeah, we've been doing dedicated playtests for a while now. I know I've got a group. I think Mattias has had some people playing as well. Of course, we are not as big as the publisher of 5e, so we're not going to be able to get quite as many people involved in it. But we are definitely testing it with some folks who are very, very good on the balance questions. And of course, like we talked about earlier, before the end of the year, we'd like to have the alpha out to have all of the wonderful backers take a look at it and put their input in as well.
Let's see here. Oh, it looks like we've got some gentleman named Francesco.
Francesco Napatello.
Yeah, I don't. he's contacting us from Middle Earth. Just thank you so much for tuning in.
Hi, Francesco. Nice of you to drop by.
Let's see here. There was one other question. Okay, so this question was, I know a few folks were saying, the undead is going to be a playable race in this game. Will they be unable to heal via healing spells as per 5e rules? If so, will they have alternative ways of healing, such as drinking blood?
Yeah, so undead are very interesting in the setting. They are a special kind of undead that people come back as, and they have a lot of limitations. For example, they only have one hit die. Doesn't matter how many levels you have, you only have one hit die, and you have requirements in terms of what you can and cannot consume. Now, you do have some access to healing, magically speaking, but remember, of course, that anytime somebody else heals you, they are gaining corruption. So there's kind of a self-limiting cycle there. But yeah, undead characters do work a little differently than regular undead.
Another question about travel rules that we're introducing. Is it based on exhaustion?
Trying to think about how much detail we want to get into on this. Yes, exhaustion is a factor when you're traveling in Davokar. Absolutely. Yeah, we won't get into too much of the technical detail, but there are different areas of Davokar and different limitations to it and different effects based on where you are and what you're trying to accomplish.
I think this is a good. We can highlight that we've mostly talked about corruption in the context of mystics, which is where it makes most sense because you have to handle it on a very regular basis. But it affects everybody, especially when you travel to the darker parts of Davokar.
Yes.
So there are pretty strong limitations to where you can go and how long you can stay there, because you will garner corruption. The same, of course, goes if you attune to a magic item or use magic items, you will also get corruption. So it's an issue that brings everyone together. That's mostly a problem for mystics.
Right.
Yeah.
Olaf has a question for.
Since we're rounding up, I can do what happens tomorrow in the world of Symbaroum. I'm thinking, Jacob, you're going into monster mood and more monsters.
Right.
What I'm thinking, since this is a work in progress, what are you working on at this moment?
Okay, Jacob, start you because you're most hands-on.
Go ahead, Mattias. Yeah. Okay, yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, there's a very large bestiary. We had lots of monsters, and that is something that is definitely in progress. And then I know we'll also be getting some feedback on the Game Master's Guide and what have you. So plenty to do.
Excellent.
Yeah, aside from running or managing the Kickstarter, which we actually are all helping to do, my next task is which I'm so looking forward to. It's to bite down on the manuscript for the Game Master's Guide and come with some editorial notes on that one, and start turning the texts into what will be the book. So that's my next big one.
I'll spend tomorrow mostly when it comes to the Ruins of Symbaroum. I'll spend time looking at the Kickstarter and have some other Free League related stuff I have to do, but mostly I'll keep an eye on the Kickstarter, make sure everybody gets their questions answered as best we can.
Excellent.
So if you have more questions and if we fail to answer them here, you can always ask them in the Kickstarter or Doug, you can always get them answered next time.
Yeah, that's right. Just if there are any questions that pop up between now and I think, gentlemen, we'll get together a week from today again and do another little chat if you'd like. It was awesome having you on. Okay.
And I'm really looking forward to the countdown that we will have together here on your channel, Doug. 3 weeks from now.
Are we gonna have like party blowers and like little fireworks and stuff, or is that something we should all do? We should have like little like party hats and everything. I think.
Whatever. It's always whenever you can have a party hat on, you should.
That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, we'll do a couple more of these and hopefully get everyone's questions answered, because I know that there's been quite a few existing folks that are fans of Symbaroum, and then the new 5e fans that have questions as well. So we want to make sure everyone, if you have questions, that they're answered, and that you're well informed as to what our plans are for this line, and we're really excited to introduce not only Symbaroum to a whole bunch of new players, but also just kind of grow our community, and we really appreciate that. We make these games because we want people playing games, and we love to we love the folks that play them. So thank you so much for all the support so far, and we're really excited to see where this Kickstarter is going to end in the next few weeks. So, gentlemen, Anna, thank you so much for joining me today. We will have you all back again a week from now. If you enjoyed the session, please hit that like button down below. And like I said, if you have not already hit that subscribe button, please hit that subscribe button. We really greatly appreciate the community that is here on YouTube. And this is a great way for us to stay connected, because we all know that this last year plus has been kind of difficult not being face-to-face and interacting with the folks that really that help support all that we do. So we're glad that we're able to be here to connect and chat and be able to express our appreciation for everyone. So all right, folks, thank you so much. We will see you next time.
Have a good one.
Bye. See you on the Kickstarter page.